Welcome everyone. We're just letting a few more people in and then we can get started with part 2 of the Blender workshop today. I see a few more people coming in. So, but anyway, let me introduce myself real quick and my student worker. So my name is Alvaro Alvarez. I'm the Innovative Media Librarian at the Orbach Library. If you attended last week's workshop, you probably already know my name and Fahed's. So yeah, I'm the librarian that works with the makerspace, but also right now I'm the supervisor until we hire for that position, or hopefully soon. Yeah, I'll let Fahed introduce himself if he wants to.
Yeah.
He's right behind.
Sure. My name is Fahed Al-Khatib. I am a student employee at the Creator Lab, which is a makerspace at the first floor of Orbach Library.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Fahed. Yeah, so feel free to visit us anytime you have questions or want to check out the resources available to you. Everything's free to use, like 3D printing. You get 2 free prints per quarter, 30 grams each print, or you can do one 60-gram print. If it's for your class project or senior thesis or whatever, you just have to let us know and then we can work something out with you and we'll print it for you. That we won't restrict the sizes and stuff on that usually. And yeah, anyway, today's session is being recorded. I apologize. I thought we would be able to get last week's up on our YouTube, but it's been pretty busy, so we weren't able to. So my goal is to get this one and the other one up at the same time. Hopefully next week, I believe we'll be able to do that. Because I have to edit and do some stuff with the captioning, and then I have to send it over to the person that actually posts, and he's pretty busy too. So I apologize for that. Okay, so we got a few more people in. So let me share a folder with you guys on the chat. Here's all the resources, just in case you don't have the link. Like all the images and stuff I'll be using today is on here. There's also a PDF with shortcuts for Blender. The shortcuts are really useful to learn, especially if you're going to use it a lot. Just saves you time when you're trying to do stuff in Blender. So yeah, there's that link. Yeah, you should see like all the faces, the background image, an HDRI image. And also I think if you don't have your Kirby working, there's the blend file that from the Kirby that you see on my screen. So feel free to try to open that too if you want. Okay, so let's get started. For today, I'm gonna go over animation. First, after I go over animation, I'll teach you how to add the grass, like a plane, turn it into grass. Then I'm gonna do an HDRI image for the lighting. And then I'm gonna show you how to add a background to the camera, to attach a background to the camera. So when you render, you get that background. Let me see. Let me show you the video. So let's see. So this is pretty much what I did with all the stuff I'll be teaching you today. So you see, I made him walk, jump, open his mouth, say hi, and then a little welcome sign came down. So yeah, you'll be able to do this pretty much at the end of the workshop, or you can do other animations with them. You can get creative and make your own video. Let's see. Yeah, this video did take me a while because I was learning, and once you have the video, you have to export it and then import it into like your favorite editing software. Blender has an editing software. You can use Blender, you can use anything you're familiar with, like on the Mac side or Windows. But that's fairly simple stuff to do. Once you have the video, it's just getting the sound effects and matching them up to your scene. So okay. And I'll try to answer questions as much as I can, but I can answer questions at the end. This shouldn't be that long of a workshop, but yeah, we'll see how long it takes us to get through the topics. But let me get started. So I have my Kirby up right now. As you see, I'm gonna change the view. Yeah, to the front view. I just did that with my numpad. I hit 1. So like you can use the numpad to switch views for your character. So the next thing you want to do is down here. You'll probably see it like this, collapse down. But just bring this up, and you should see this window right here with all the frames, the different frames. You should see it. It says start at first frame, 1 frame, and then end at 150. I'm gonna switch this to 50 because I don't want 150 frames. So you seen how that shrunk, that window shrunk. So this is gonna be the size of the video pretty much when I export it. It's gonna be a 50 frame animation. So frames are pretty much if you know about animation, like you know how they have to draw. In the old days, I guess they drew 1 page like at a time, and then on the next page they drew the same character with a slight movement. So I guess when you flipped it or you recorded the images, it would look like the character is moving. So essentially that's what you want to think of each frame, like an individual picture, and then the software is just going to play each picture one by one, giving you the animation on the screen. So yeah, that's why I'm just gonna do 50 frames, but you can do as many frames as you want. For frames, the frames per second for animation is usually 24 frames per second. So that means that each second it's going to play 24 frames. So depending on what you want to do with your animation, you can play around with the frames per second. I just leave it at 24, but if you wanted to elongate your video and do 12 frames per second, you can, but then it would slow it down. It would be a lot slower movements and all that. And then of course you can speed it up to add more frames, and then it'll speed up the video. So you can play around with that, and then whatever you feel is like fits your style, you could use it. Yeah, so anyway, what I usually do is I hit this button right here in the middle. So you see where my cursor is right here, auto keying. So with auto keying, in Blender, every time you do an animation with Kirby, you would record that animation by keying it, right? So this, if you do this, every time I move like his arm, his leg, change his face, it'll animate that. It'll key it here, and you'll see like a little, like a diamond, yellow diamond shape. I'll show you right now what I mean. Another way to do the keying is just by doing the shortcut, which is I. And to get to that, you just right click anywhere in here in where all the keyframes are. You could see all the different options you have. So you could copy a keyframe, paste it. You can delete, you can insert, duplicate, mirror. So there's a lot of things you can do with the keyframes. So let me just show you real quick for the animation. So I'm going to do auto keying. So it's on because it's blue. So that's how I know it's on. Then at keyframe, the first keyframe, I'm going to just set my Kirby to the starting position. So with the video I showed you, I moved Kirby all the way to the left because it was like a walking scene. But it depends what you're going to do. If you're going to make him jump, maybe set him to the floor, or set him to the side if he's going to be moving like left or right. So I'm going to make sure I'm in frame 1. And then I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click on Armature. I'm in the top right corner. So I'm just going to click on that so that I can get into pose mode. That way I can see the armature and I can manipulate the arms and legs. So I'm gonna just move his little hand. Maybe I'll put them both up, the left and the right. So I'm just gonna hit R on my keyboard. I know this arm is selected because I clicked on the armature, the bone, and it's like a green, like a bluish greenish color. I'm gonna hit R and then I'm just gonna move it up. And then you see down here on the first frame, you see that little gold, the yellow diamond. So that means that the software recorded that movement. So it auto keyed it for me. That's the term, I guess, for animation. So again, I'm on the first frame. So now let's say I want to bring his arm back down. So let's say I want to do that at frame 10. I would just left click on that blue line on the 1, and then you can move it, slide it over to 10. And then here, once you're here, I'll again come up here. I'll make sure the bone for the arm is selected. Then I'll hit R. Then I'll rotate it down, and you see it added another keyframe. So basically, you can keep doing that if that's what you want to do, or if you want to move to another limb, you can do that as well. So I can go to 20. I'll just do it again. I'll hit R, move it back up. I keyframed. Then at 30, I'll hit R again and rotate it down. Yeah, so then you can left click too and just see what it's doing too, to make sure you're happy with what you're doing. So you see how I'm just, I'm holding on to the left mouse button and scrolling. So you can kind of see what he's doing. So yeah, I guess I'm happy with that. He's just waving. So I did start it at the top. So I might want to end it with his arm like in the middle or lower. So I'll just go up to 40 and lower it. So again, make sure you click on the bone, hit R, and then I'll just lower it more. So to play it, just hit the little play button, play animation, and it's a shortcut spacebar, and then it'll play within the 50 frames that I set the animation set. So you see Kirby's like waving, and then he drops his hand. So you can see this could be a very tedious process, especially if you're doing a long animation with a lot of other stuff going on in the background. That's why, like in movies, you see that they have the motion capture suits, because it saves them a lot of time to do that instead of having to go each bone and like move it and record that keyframe. Oh, armature? Yeah. Yeah, just make sure you click on the armature over here. Once that's selected, you go to pose mode over here on the top left, and then make sure that you have viewport shading selected. I have toggle X-ray as well. So make sure yours matches mine up here on the top. And then you should see the bone. Oh yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, I'm happy with that animation. He's just saying hi, something simple. But yeah, like if you wanted to make it more complicated, like the walk scene, that one took me a while because I'm kind of new to this, so I'm still learning, and I had to do like the arms and the legs at the same time. So I played it over and over till I got the movement right, and yeah, then once you're happy with that, you're good to go with the animation. So, and then another thing with the faces, yeah, last time I showed you how to add the face to Kirby, right? So I'm going to get out of pose mode, go to object mode. If you wanted to change the face, let's see. So I'm back at frame 1. I'm in object mode, and I'm gonna click on the body. So now I'm gonna go to the properties over here on the left, like material properties. So it looks like a little pizza, and it says material properties. If you can see it, it's like the very bottom of the properties area on the right side. So here where it says frames, start frame and offset, make sure it's all one. You should have auto refresh selected. So at frame 1, his mouth is open, so I can change that here if I just go to like, oh, I don't have anything there. But I selected 2 images, an open and closed. So I can do a closed one at that frame, and then if you click on this, it'll keyframe it. And then if I move maybe to the middle, he'll open it again. And then I just have to go over here and then open the mouth, just right click. So it should have keyframed it automatically for me, and you'll see the little diamond on the right. So now let me play it and see if it did it. So yeah, you see? So that's how you would animate the face, like the gestures. And I did send you the file with all the different gestures, so you can play around with that. To make sure you have the different images, I can show you really quick again. Just click on the body, go to shading on the top. Make sure that you have the object over here on the left selected, not the world. And then you want to use an image sequencer. So I believe I showed you last week, but if I didn't, if I just did one image, all you need to do is click on the folder and then go to the folder with all the different images, select all the images that you want to use for the faces, open image. I already did that, so I'll hit cancel. And then you'll get this, it'll elongate this window. So now you'll be able to set these to 1, and then you can change the faces here. I usually do it over here because that's where I can keyframe everything. Here, it won't let you keyframe. So then I just go back to layout, and then, yeah, you can just change the faces to whatever you want, depending on your animation. So yeah, that's the way to do that on the video. So on my video, I could bring it back so you could kind of see how, like, he closes his mouth at the end. So it's fairly simple. Okay, guys, so we went through the animation and faces. So now let's start adding, let's add the grass. I'll show you how I added my grass. So I'm going to get out of, no, actually, yeah. I want to be in object mode, layout. So let's see. I'm gonna bring in a plane. So if you hit Shift A on your keyboard, Shift A will give you this window to add new items to your scenery. So I'm just gonna do a mesh, and then I'm gonna do a plane. And then you could kind of see it added this little block right here. It's like on curvy. So what I want to do is bring it down. So I'm just gonna do a grab, and then I'm gonna hit Z to lock it into the Z axis, and then I'm just gonna move my mouse down. And then I'm just gonna set it there. I'm gonna move back to this view. So yeah, he seems like he's on it, so that should be good. To go to that view again, I just hit 1 on my numpad, just to make sure that he's standing on it and not floating on top of the plane. So, and yeah, if you need to move him again, yeah, you could move the plane. You can just make sure it's highlighted yellow, and when you click on it with your left button mouse, and then just hit G, and then if you want to snap it to the Z axis, hit Z right after, and then you can move it up and down. So like I'll click on it, hit G, Z, and then you can see it's locked to the Z axis. So I just move my mouse up and down, and I got that. Now I want to scale this, right? Because I want like a big field, not just like a little block for him to be floating on. Unless you're gonna make his little like, does he ride on a little cloud? Like a little star. Oh, I'm thinking of Dragon Ball. I'm sorry. Yeah. I was gonna say you can do that too, but so I'm just gonna hit S. I clicked on it. I'm gonna hit S to scale, and then I'm just gonna make this bigger. So that'll be my field. So now Kirby's standing on a field. So now what I want to do is I want to change the color of that. So I don't know if you guys remember, but we did that with Kirby when we changed the color and added the faces. We went to the shading. So I have the plane selected, like but it's gonna be essentially the grass. So once I'm in the shading mode, all I want to do is hit the new button right here, right below Kirby. So when you hit the new button, it gives you 2 nodes. So this was the one we're going to use to change the color. So all you have to do is on the base color line, click it, and then you can select the green you want. I'll just use that green. You can change it to whatever you want. It's your video, your Kirby. But I'll just do this green for today. And now I'm just gonna go back to layout. So now you see him standing in a large field, green, but I want to make it look more like grass. So what I did to do that is over here on the right, there's an option called particle properties. If you click on that, and then you'll get this window on the right. It doesn't have anything right now, but if you click the plus button, you see now I have these little like dots all over the place. But I don't want to use the emitter. I want to switch it over to hair. So right to the right of it, over here where my mouse is, I'm gonna left click, and then you see now he's like in a field with like large blades of grass. I'm just gonna move the length down. So you see, so I'm just dragging and clicking, and you can drag and click until you like the height of the grass. I mean, it could be tall grass, small grass. Kind of like it at that height right there. Then the number, if you increase it, it should add more blades. So you can play around with that number. You can do like, so you see I did 5,000, so now there's like a lot more. But yeah, play around with that number and add as much grass as you want or as little, shorten it or make it long if you want to make it look like he's like in like a large grassy field, depending on what you want to do. So yeah, that's the way I added my grass for my video. So now we have the grass. So another thing I want to show you is lighting. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hdri Images, but it's like a shortcut to add the lighting to your scene on Blender. That's the way I did the lighting for my video. I just went to HDR. It's called Polyhaven now. I could share the link with you guys. Let me copy the link and I'm adding it to the chat. So if you go to this website, people have already created Hdri images. So it's basically a 360 image they made with like a 360 cam, and it saves all the data for like the lighting of the scene. So when you bring it over to Blender, it transfers over to that and lights up your scene accordingly. So to do that, we want to go to shading. It's pretty simple. It's the stuff we've been doing with Kirby. So I'm going to go to shading. I want to go over here on the top left of that area and click on world. So now I'm in the world property. So now what I want to do is click add texture, and then I want to do an environment texture. So I'll leave that up so you guys can see what I did. So I just went to add, drop down to texture, and then environment texture. And I'm doing this all under the shading tab. And make sure you selected world. If not, you're gonna be like modifying something else. And if you do mess up, just hit Control Z and you can move back. That's not a problem. Like with Blender, it's easy to make mistakes. So I'm glad they have that Control Z to just move back and I correct it. Excuse me. So now I'm gonna do environment texture. I'm gonna open. I have an Hdri image already in my one of my folders. So let me look for it. So it's just a field. So it's like a sunny field. It kind of goes with the scene for my Kirby. So I'm going to click on that, open image, and then I'm going to delete this node. I don't need this one right here. So I'm just going to click on it and then hit delete on my keyboard. And then I'm just going to link the color to the surface. So now if I go to layout, if I go to the top right and I go to Viewport Shading, if I click on that button, you see now I have a field and it lighted up my scenery accordingly. So you see I have that Hdri image I just imported and it lighted up my scene. So that's like a shortcut to do lighting. I'm not that good yet with all that, but if you wanted to play around with lights and like adding manually, you can just do Control A, and then you go down to light, and then you can do, there's 4 options. You can add a sun, points, spots and areas. So you can play around with these 2 if you wanted to. They're a little more advanced because you have to come over to the properties and play around with a lot of the settings to get what you want. This is just a shortcut using Hdri images. So yeah, so like if I wanted a night scene, I would just bring in a night scene and it would be lighted accordingly. Yeah, so now let's play with the camera. So you see the camera is up here. It's this little guy right here. So if I hit 0 on my numpad, that's what the camera is seeing right now. It's just floating there. So what you can do with the camera is you can either do one of 2 things. You can click on it now. You know you clicked on it because it's highlighted a yellow, orangey. If you hit grab, you can move your camera around. You could position it to where you would like it. Let's see. So I'm gonna move it like to the front, and then I'm just hitting G on my keyboard when I left click on it, and that'll allow me to move the camera around freely. And then I just left click to to drop it. And then I'm just gonna hit R to rotate. Rotate on the X. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to position it, but if you hit 0, you can kind of see. Rotate. Yeah, so let me see. Yeah, this is a tricky getting the camera right where you want it. So you'll have to go toggle between that and just this view. Let's see. Let me see what that gives me. So okay. So I'll just oops. I grabbed the wrong thing. So let's see. Make sure I grab it. Go to this view. I'm just hitting G just to position it. Yeah, so I guess I'll just leave it there. So you can kind of see he's just waving at someone from there. But yeah, just position it to, it depends on what you're trying to do with it. And again, with the camera too, it kind of works like the animation. So like I could set it to this position for a frame 1. But then if I have another scene, I can do a close up. So I would just move the camera closer on one of these frames, and Blender will automatically like move the camera for you. Yeah, for the video I made, I just kept it stationary because he walked into the scene, jumped. But yeah, if you do want to do more action scenes and all that, once you get a little better, you can keyframe like where the camera position is too, so that you can give it those effects as well. Let's see. So now let me show you what happens when you render the image. So I'm just gonna render the image. So I just went to the top right, top left, I mean, hit render image. And then my computers are a little fast. So here's the image I created for me. So that's the image it created for me. So you see it has that background, the grass and curvy. So let me, let me show you how I added the background to my video. I think I might have closed my video, but I didn't. Yeah, I did. But I added a different background to my video because right now, if you do a render, it'll just show whatever your HDRI image is, as you saw in that picture. But if I want to change it to a more cartoony look, there's a few steps we have to do. So I'll try to go slow too, because yeah, I sometimes make mistakes on this too, because it's kind of new to me working with the nodes. So first things first, I want to get out of this view. I want to click on the camera.
How did you get out of that?
Oh, just hit 0 on your numpad. So 0 will get you to this view, and then 0 will get you out. If you're trying to get out of that view, sorry. Yeah, you might have been stuck here, but yeah, just toggle. Let's see. And I think the button right below your escape button, what's it called?
The NEA key?
Yeah. If you hit that one, it gives you the camera view. You can kind of see it on the bottom left. You got the bottom view, right view, back, top, front. So that's in case you don't have a numpad. Just click on that button right below the escape button, and then it'll give you this wheel, and then you can kind of go like to camera if you want to. And then to get out, you would do the same. You would hit this, and then yeah. So that's like the other way to do that if you don't have a numpad. But yeah, I found it very useful to have a numpad. So if you can get one, a keyboard with one, most keyboards have it. So if you have it, yeah, it'll save you a lot of time and headache. So yeah, now for the background image. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go to the little camera icon. It's object data properties. So it's over here. So like make sure this is selected, your camera. You can select it here in the scene or over here in the hierarchy area. So if you click on it, go over to the property. So the icon is an actual camera, so it's really easy to distinguish from all the other ones. So once you're in here, you should see this property. It says background image. You want to check that. Then hit the down arrow, and then it says add image. So this will give you the option to open and add an image. So I'm going to look for mine. Let's see. Under Blender, curvy. I'm gonna use this one. So once I have that, you have more options. I'm gonna just set this to 1. I'm gonna leave it as stretch, but you can play around with it if you wanted to look a little different. I'm not gonna flip it or scale it or anything. I'm just gonna leave it as is. You don't see anything right now, but if you hit 0 on your camera, now you see kind of the image, right? You see the little clouds. And if I rotate, yeah, it's like in the back. So yeah, that's how you would do that. But the one thing about this is that if I render it right now, it still won't show. Oh, let me bring it over. It still won't show that. It'll still show the HDRI image, right? So yeah, I had to figure that out, but the workaround for that, so that other background comes out, not this one, is the following. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to now, let's see, go up. I have to make it transparent. So to do that, you go to render properties, you go to film. You just have to make sure this is transparent. So that gets rid of the HDRI image. So again, I just went up to this one, the little, looks like a camera icon. If you hover over it, it's called render properties, and then just go to film, down click it so you see what you have, and then make transparent. So that's the first step. Second step would be, we have to go into compositing. Once we're here, you hit use nodes on the top. So now we see this, right? We see our curvy scene. We have this property. I'm gonna zoom in the composite. So we have to add a few things here for it to work. So add like that. And I in the folder I shared, I have the screenshot of this next step because it could be a little confusing. So if you go to that, it has the image where it shows you how to connect each node, just in case you get lost. So first I'm gonna add a color alpha over. So to do that, just go to add, go to color alpha over. This guy, if you put it right in the middle, it'll kind of connect them for you. But you want to move this line to the bottom. So that's the first step. So again, I just went to add color and then alpha over, and it gave you that first box. And then make sure that it's connected like this, so to the bottom image. I'll zoom in so you guys could see. So that's the first step. Next one is I'm gonna do a distort scale node. So I'm gonna do add distort, and then there should be a scale, yeah. And then that guy goes up here. I'll leave it right here for now. This one you're gonna connect to the image, the other one. So now I'm going to bring in one more, and I'm going to do input image node. So input image. So here we're just gonna connect this to the image on this one, and then we're gonna click on the folder, and we're gonna go look for the image we used previously with the camera property. So for mine is this one, would be under Blender for me, curvy, this one. So the image you use for your background. So it looks good. So I have the image. Just let me double check mine. image. Oh yeah, and then this one you want to switch it to render size, I believe. Yeah, render size. And then I leave it as stretched because that's what I did over here for the camera property. I didn't touch that at all. Then I connected this one to this part of the node, and then this one's connected to this image node, and then that one just branches off to this, which is the composite, like the output. So once you do this, you should be good when you render the image or your animation video. So I'll go back to layout. So now I'll do render image, and let me bring in the image so you can see now I have this background instead of the HDRI image. So you see I have like this background instead of the field that I used to have in the other one, but I still have the lighting effect from the HDRI image, but you can change your background image this way. So let me close this. But yeah, let me just go over now how you export your animation. So once you're happy with your animation, you added all the movements to Curvy. You wanted, I'll put that as a video, not an image file, right? So that's pretty easy. You just come over here. We're gonna use the render engine Eevee. That one, if you don't have a fast high-end computer, that's the recommended one because it doesn't use up so much of your computer resources. If you want to do a more detailed render, you would use cycles. That's the one that they recommend. But for this, it's pretty simple. You don't need cycles. You just use Eevee. Here, you don't need to change anything on this. Now you go to it looks like a little printer, and that's the output property. So you can change the resolution. I just leave everything the same. The frame rate. So here's the frame rate. So it's like I mentioned before at the start of the workshop, 24 frames per second is the recommended, but you can make more, or you can do custom and do less than 24, depending on what effect you want your video to have when it's playing. Then you could kind of see here, I set this in the beginning of the workshop over here in the bottom right, where I said start at frame 1, end at 50. It's the same here. I'm not going to move any of that. Output, here's where you want to change this to, other than that, right now I'm getting a PNG image file, but I want to change that over to, I use the MPEG video one. So now once I have that, right here where it says temp folder, that's the output path to your computer where you're gonna, once you render the image or the video, it's going to save it at that location on your computer. So change it to somewhere where you can find it easily. You can do the desktop. And then you could kind of see now that it's now C user, my name, desktop, OneDrive desktop. So that's where I would find the video once I do that, once I render it. Or you could put it in wherever you feel comfortable. So yeah, and the last thing to do would just go to render animation. And this one could take a while depending on your computer, but you could kind of see right here, it's rendering all the frames on the bottom. It's almost done on mine. I think it should be done now. Let me bring it over. I think I need to play it. Let me find it on my desktop real quick. So let me close this guy. Let's see, where are you? Let me move this over. I believe it's this one. Yeah. So yeah, you see, so now here's my Kirby. So that's the animation I made earlier with the background and the grass. So, but yeah, that's pretty much how you would output your video. And then for the sound, well, I used Audacity. I think that's what it's called. That one's a good one. But you can use whatever software you're familiar with to create like sound files. I use that one just because it's open source. Let's see if I can find it. I'll give you guys the link right now. I'm looking for it. Yeah, this is the one I used. Let's see. So that's the software I used. I don't think I have it installed on this computer. I think I did that at home, but pretty much if you have a microphone or you can use your computer microphone, you can, it's really simple to use. You would just hit record on that and then it'll record the sound. So then once you have that sound file, you can use whatever software you would like to use to edit, to add that sound to the video. I used Blender to do that. I didn't use like any of the other ones. I don't know. Do you have any you would recommend like softwares
For sound or for video?
For video?
Not really. Blender's pretty good. There's a whole host of free software though.
Yeah. But yeah, that's like the whole other thing. Let me see. Yeah, but other than that, yeah, that's how I created that my animated video. So one more thing I wanted to share with you guys. Let me see. I went to model. So I'm gonna share the link right here with you.
Can you see the links because you're sending it to mod?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh yeah, I'm sending it to the. Yeah, thanks, bud.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let me send you all those links again, guys. Sorry about that. This link that I just shared right now is for already pre-built models. So you can actually find a Kirby there and like Pokemon and other stuff, and they're already rigged with bones. So if you wanted to like skip the previous workshop, like where you did everything from scratch, you could just look for models that are already pre-built and they have the armature, and then you can start doing your animation from there. Oh, here's the Audacity. What other link didn't I share with you guys? I think the link with all the resources I might have.
Oh, I shared it.
Oh, you shared it? Oh, okay. Oh, thanks, man. So, yeah, yeah. So I guess, yeah, but that, for Blender, the video editing, let me see if I have the file here. It won't save. Nah, I just won't save it. Let me see if it opened or is opening. Let me close this out and then I'll just save it. Let's see. I just want to show you how it looks for the editing. So you see when you open Blender, it says video editing. If you click on that, yeah, you would get this. So here is where you would just add all your files. So like you would add your movie, which was on the desktop, I think somewhere. Yeah, and then you would just add like the sounds. Like if you had a sound, you would just click on it. I don't think I have sounds. Let me see if I do. Yeah, I could use this one. So add sound clip strip. So yeah, you see, and then you can move it to wherever you want it. Like if you wanted it at the end or here. So this is your video. So yeah, that's how you would add like all the sounds and then start working on your character if you have to reconfigure any of the keyframing to match the lips and stuff like that. So yeah, let me see. Yeah, you see? So he just said hi. And then, so now I think just from seeing that, I would close his mouth at the end of the clip, and it looked pretty good other than that. So, but yeah, like I said, you can use your favorite editing software. Camtasia is another one. Like I said, the Audacity is a free one. You don't have to pay. Yeah, and once you create your sound, you just use like the video editing software of your choice to just add the sound clips, and also if you have multiple scenes, like if you're making a movie, you can like pre-record them and then bring them over and add transitions and make a movie, like a quick 15-20 minute movie maybe. So yeah, use your imagination for that. Yeah, I am trying right now. I'm learning how to do like a tune link from scratch. So I plan to have Toon Link and Kirby maybe do a little fight scene with like Metal Mario or something. For Metal Mario, I'll probably just use the website I just shared with you with all the models and just do that one. Yeah, download that one. But I'm just doing it from scratch so I learn, because you always learn new things, when you're trying stuff. But yeah, anyway, yeah, thank you guys. Is there any questions? No, no, I don't see anything.
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. Well, no, yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for joining. Hopefully you learned some stuff. Here's my email too if you have any questions, or feel free to visit us at the Makerspace. Oops, I was gonna put that right here. Yeah, it's my contact info. So yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us today. And I hope you have a good rest of your week.